Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody. We do have a number of people in our audience and a lot of our staff members, which is really exciting. I enjoy that, and community members as well. I'm going to go ahead and call this regular city council meeting for October 16th to order and ask for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dennehy.
Here.
Councilmember Schmischer.
She's online.
Okay. Councilmember B. Smith.
Here, sorry.
Here. Here.
Councilmember Stein.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy.
Here.
Councilmember Worthington.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here. Let's all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any citizens in the audience that wish to address City Council on any topic that is not already on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to City Council member announcements. Councilmember Tracy.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to mention that tomorrow, Tuesday at 3 o'clock is the regular monthly meeting for the Cotter Uranium Mill Superfund site Community Advisory Group. It's going to be in person at the Abbey Event Center, again, 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, our federal representatives can't be there in person because of the federal budgeting issues that were never quite straightened out for them to be able to travel here as they plan to. It's an important meeting from the point of view that there is a draft of a Phase 1 Human Health and Ecological Risk Assessment Work Plan that has been released and is open for public comment until the end of October. The Community Advisory Group's technical advisor is doing a presentation tomorrow to outline recommendations that they have regarding the draft report. And we also will meet, I believe, a team of people representing Cotter Corporation. And Cotter, the original owner and operator at the site, is now back involved under federal law.
Any other announcements? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did attend the Colorado Municipal League Policy Committee meeting last Friday. And in that meeting, the Colorado Municipal League lobbyists and attorneys seek the approval from the Policy Committee, which is composed of members from municipalities across the state, for various stances on legislation. A lot of the legislation that CML is opposing involves local control. There are many bills going to be coming up in this legislative session that remove local control from municipalities. CML has been uniformly opposed to those. There was a discussion of individual bills. Some of them our administrator needs to know about, which we will talk about at the appropriate time. But CML is actively watching what the legislature is doing and trying to get ready for the expected avalanche of bills this session.
Thank you. Councilmember Worthington.
Yes, thank you. I had the opportunity to attend the annual meeting of Action 22, which is the 22 counties in southern Colorado that advocate for the rural areas up at the State House. And they too, pretty much in step, in fact, I would say very much in step with a lot of the legislation that's going to be introduced, and the fact that all of the counties are in the same situation that we are as far as wanting to oppose a lot of that legislation. There was also some good discussions on energy as to what's coming up with different things that might come through on the utility side through the legislature, and so we want to be able to keep track of all of that too. So, thank you.
I just wish to share a couple of things. One, Hildebrand Care Center just celebrated their 50th anniversary. It was started by Hildy Hildebrand with the Odd Fellows. And I thought I was able to attend, and it was a very lovely event. I thought it was very interesting to put into perspective that when they opened up 5 decades ago, their very first residents who would have come into the doors in their later years of life, they would have experienced during their lifetime the tail end of the post-Civil War Reconstruction era, and a time when electricity was just starting to spread to urban areas. And they experienced the Industrial Revolution and the suffrage movement. So I thought that's kind of an interesting way to put it into some historical context. Today they have 108 employees, and instead of having residents that are 2 or 4 people to a room, they all have their own room now. So some changes that happen, yeah. Also, I was able to attend the Built for Zero meeting. Councilmember Tracy was there as well, and there were some really interesting statistics that came out of that. They did an interview of 33 of those who have been at the Loaves and Fishes to ask them 2 questions that we ask a lot to start getting answers for, and they're going to keep asking these questions when they are intaked. One of them was how homeless get to Canyon City. How did you get to Canyon City? They said 2 came on MedRide from the RAC. I think I'm going to talk to Sylvesta about that and see why are they getting put on MedRide to Canyon City, and if they don't have a support group to have them come to. 3, they were brought there by the sheriff or the Canyon City Police Department. 4 rode in on a bus. This was before busing was canceled. 7 hitchhiked or walked. 1 walked from Cotopaxi. 5 by a friend or a complete stranger. 5 were released from prison or jail. And 6 came in their own cars. And when asked why did they come here, we had that question, why are all these people coming to Canyon City? Or came to be homeless too. One of them, their loved one was supposed to be paroled, but it fell through and they became stranded. Some came for the housing resources in Fremont County. 8 came to be with family members, to be with them, but the relationship fell apart and they were kicked out. 1 family was passing through town, but their car broke down. 5 got into an argument with a significant other and were kicked out. 4 was because of their drug use and they were asked to leave their housing. Some, they lived here in their childhood, they left and decided to return. 3 were youth who, I guess it sounded like they became adults and their parents kicked them out of the house when they were coming of age. About half of them have family in Fremont County, the other half don't. They don't have a support system here. Something I thought was very interesting, though, is that they have a pilot program that they're trying out. For those who are at Loaves and Fishes, they'll have an event where they go and they pick up trash. Or maybe once they went to New Horizons and it sounded like raked a lot of leaves, and they work for 2 hours. In exchange, they get to have a shower and a $30 gift card. And felt like they hope that their success with this and giving them opportunities to give back to the community and clean up the community and have that the sense of accomplishment and participating in work and getting rewards for doing that. Even though we are seeing an influx of a lot of the transient population, our veterans, we're still at functional 0 for veterans, and we are down to just 5 people in chronic homelessness. And so, and actually they had just gone to a national event. They went to Washington, D.C., and Fremont County was called out for their amazing work that they're doing with homelessness. Obviously, there's still a lot of work and tools to be done, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that tonight.
And Madam Mayor, if I could
Yes.
just point out of the people when asked, why did you come to Canyon City? Not one said because they're so easy, because they have such great benefits, and it's so much easier there than other locations.
Thank you for finding that out. It is interesting, though, because like Denver has increased over this past year by like 32% of homelessness. Colorado Springs, what I was trying to do some more research on it, they had a decrease, but they also just built this huge housing. And so a lot of those people who were on streets got into housing, so they're off the streets something that we don't, I mean, besides Journey Home, it's something that we don't have or the ability to do. But I think as long as we still have these major influxes of numbers in our bigger cities, we're always going to be seeing that trickle effect come here. Something that we still, I mean, we're working on all the time, but I was encouraged by the work that Loaves and Fishes was doing and Built for Zero, and gave me some hope that, you know, we're still, they're on it. And for a lot of those people who became homeless, it was a breakdown of the family unit. And they did mention that there are some communities that are already doing it. They have some opportunities to help families maybe de-escalate, help them learn how to mend their relationships, and help, you know, have some intervention to heal those family relationships. And so maybe that at some point could be a thing where there's some interventions there to keep people from becoming homeless in the first place, because that's our biggest influx is right there. Any other announcements? Okay. Well, now I get to do something really, really fun, and that's recognitions. We have a lot of department heads here and some employees that we just really want to recognize for some excellent work and time that they've committed to Canyon City. Ryan, how would you like to proceed?
We will pass it over to Butch to conduct the recognitions here.
You're going to be the one doing all the bragging and...
Well, we're going to leave the
Praises.
bragging to the department heads and
Okay.
supervisors. I don't want to
Wonderful.
steal their
I hope there's
thunder.
lots of it coming.
Yes, I hope there is as well. So what we're doing this evening is we're going to recognize some of our employees. It's one of the fun things I get to do as the HR director is recognize our employees for their accomplishments. And this evening, we have 5 employees who have reached significant milestones in their careers with the city. And so we'll call them up one at a time. I'll read off just a brief synopsis of what they've done since they've been with the city and allow their department head or supervisor to make any statement they wish. And then once we're done, I would ask all of the recipients to stay here. And once we're done, I would like to get a picture with the recipients and the council members to recognize this evening's events. Okay. So first on the list, we have Scott Dressler. Scott is being recognized for 5 years of employment with the city. Scott was originally hired on October 1st, 2018. He was hired as a utility maintenance worker in the water department. He changed to a water treatment plant operator on September 23rd of 2019. Sir?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Scott's done for us, but he's done a whole lot more. He came up to be the water treatment operator, and he started off, you know, not knowing anything, as we all do in the water world. Nobody comes in knowing much, and he's done just a fantastic job of bearing down and studying. He has his B certification, and he's mere days away next Wednesday from testing for his A, so he's been hitting the books really hard, and we're looking forward to that, having another A operator on the staff, so exciting stuff. So he also heads up our day shift, so he's kind of helping out, line the guys out for all the sampling and monitoring and instrumentation work and whatnot, so we're just really proud of him.
Awesome. Let's have a round of applause for Thank you, Scott. Scott, do you want to say anything about your 5 years at Canyon City? No? Thank you.
So
for
I will
being-
let you know that I let all of the department directors know that if the people being recognized didn't want to make a statement, they didn't have to.
That's
Because I know
totally
some people
valid.
aren't really comfortable in a public forum, so,
They just want to do their job behind
yeah.
the scenes.
which they all do
Make
well.
Magic happen, yes.
Next up, we have Kirsten Nelson. Kirsten is being recognized for 5 years of service with the city of Canyon City. Kirsten was hired on October 1st of 2018 as a police officer 1.
Madam Mayor, members of council, thank you for this evening, recognizing these employees. Officer Nelson's a pretty special egg for us. She's a consummate professional. She wakes up every day and comes to the city to protect and serve. And we couldn't be prouder of her on this benchmark this evening. I think you got your badge, right? So she's got her 5-year personalized badge, so from the PD. But I'm really proud of Kirsten, and she's going to go a long way in this industry. She's got a lot of heart, a lot of grit. She's a source of inspiration to her peer mates, and she's got aspirations to become a detective, so I look forward to seeing how far she's going to go.
Fantastic. Round of applause for Kirsten. Thank you so much for your service.
Kirsten wanted to say something.
Thanks, Chief. Next up, we have Glenda Debeker. Glenda is celebrating 15 years with the city. She was originally hired as a part-time stormwater technician on October 13th of 2008. She changed to full-time on August 3rd, 2009, and her position was changed from technician to stormwater coordinator on May 19th of 2020.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having us tonight. I get the pleasure to speak about Glenda here. Glenda has been heavily involved in the stormwater program at the city for her entire 15 years here. She is the one that keeps the state out of Canyon City and off our backs for compliance. A lot of the behind-the-scenes paperwork side of things and administration of the stormwater program, which can be a rather thankless job when it rains in Canyon City, and a very tough job. So we appreciate her for that. Very much. And on a personal note, I appreciate Glenda. I did not have a lot of opportunity in my past careers to have the stormwater aspect of my job come up, and she's just been a tremendous asset to me personally and kind of mentoring me and catching me up and getting me up to speed on everything Canyon City.
Awesome. Thank you, Glenda. Really appreciate it.
All right. Unfortunately, our next recognizee isn't able to be here this evening. She had a more pressing personal matter. But we have Denise Warren. Denise is celebrating 25 years of employment with the city. She was originally hired on October 19th of 1998 as a receptionist administrative support position in the administrator's office. She was moved to the senior administrative clerk on June 4th, 2012, and then she was appointed as the deputy city clerk on November 1st of 2018. So I thought it appropriate, even though she couldn't be here, that we recognize her so she receives the recognition in a timely way.
Ryan, you better brag on Denise, because she has to come back and watch this.
Yeah, Denise is the air traffic controller for City Hall. She makes sure that everybody's going in the right direction. She does a tremendous job. You know, I don't know how many people realize everything that she does, but you know, making sure everybody's going in the right direction. But you know, she also processes park use permits and the street closures and everything else that when we're having an event, she's the one that's behind the scenes coordinating all of that, getting the feedback from not just city departments, but other agencies within the city, like the fire department and such. So, you know, we appreciate Denise and everything she does, and great to have her as part of the team.
Absolutely, and I get to run into Denise a little bit more often than some of the other folks, but I mean, even, I remember she was telling me about an older gentleman who came to pay a water bill, and it was obvious there's no way he was going to get home safely because he was in such bad condition, and she personally took him home so he could get home safely. And then that's the kind of level of quality work that she serves for Kansas City.
So applause for Denise.
Yeah, applause for Denise.
And then lastly, by no means least, we have Suzanne Lasha, who is celebrating 40 years of employment with the city of Canyon City. I think her parents may have arranged her employment before she was born.
They did.
She was originally hired on October 18th of 1983 as a library technician assistant. She became the library director on December 16th, 2014. During her career with the library, prior to becoming the director, she served in numerous positions, including head of technical services, adult services librarian, deputy library director, and interim director.
And I'd just like to say for Suzanne, it's obvious, you know, you go into the library, how much she cares for the library and the patrons of the library. All the shows and events and activities that were put together, and the staff that's, the staff loves working there and working with you and working for you. You just do an amazing job for the library and for this community, and it shows. Anybody that has anything to do with the library knows how much you care about it.
Thank you, Ryan.
100%, yes. Would you like to say anything, Suzanne? I mean, 40 years, come on.
Well, it's not really work when you enjoy it as much as I do. Yeah, there's been some bad days, but the majority of the time there's good days. And I have a great staff. Don't know what I would do without them. So thank you all very much.
Thank you for all that you do.
If at this time I could get the employees and their directors up front and the council members down in front of the podium.
Absolutely.
We'll get a picture, and I have some items for the directors to take back with them.
Clothes are not hard to pick.
Yeah, we want the people being recognized up front here so everybody can see you. Scott, come on up front here. You can get in between.
Don't be behind, we need to be.
Oh, there you go. All right, so if you can't see us, we can't see you. You guys are gonna lose them in a minute here. All right. Leo. John. No, that's Travis. This is you. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, can you please go over our consent agenda?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Item 8A is to approve the minutes for the regular city council meeting on October 2nd, the general government meeting on October 4th, and the special meeting September 27th, which is the water committee, and October 2nd, which was an executive session. 8B approves change order to bid 5223 for museum roof replacement in the amount of $82,741. 8C is to receive and file monthly budget summary, and 8D is to receive and file cash disbursements and P-card disbursements.
Any questions for Ryan on the consent agenda? Councilmember Schmischer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question has to do with 8B, the change order for the museum roof. I'm concerned that it may not meet the city's purchasing policy. My understanding is that the city's purchasing policy is that the purchasing department may request an extension of an awarded bid from city council for an exact product or service from a vendor based on the original approved bid. I don't think that extending a bid to an entirely separate building is the same as an exact product or service. So I wanted to get I'm not sure if that would be Tammy or if that would be, Director Nordike, or if that would be Attorney Sellers, but I wanted to get a read on that. Thanks.
Oh, I'll hear from you both, maybe.
I'll just say, I mean, that very well may be the case, Councilmember Schmischer. I haven't reviewed it, so I would want to do that before I weighed in on the opinion on whether or not it complies with the policies or not.
When we awarded the bid a month ago for the City Hall roof. We did talk about if we were to put this same type of roofing out to bid again, that all of the pricing that the roofers had submitted would already be public information, and so it could end up, I forgot what exactly our wording was, but we were concerned that it may not be a fair bid at that point if we ended up rebidding for the other buildings.
It could have a negative impact because the pricing's already out there. And,
So
we do have Leo Evans in the audience as well. Leo, do you want to weigh in? I know you presented the last time.
Yes, good evening. I know we did kind of take direction from the last time this came up at council. We talked about this at length, that these other roofs were listed in the bid, but there were not quantities and specifics and things of that nature. We did take the council's direction that we could look at a piggyback contract as long as the pricing for the other roofs were similar in line in terms of price per square foot, and that was used as the metric to compare and kind of vet out this bid for the museum roof, along with comparing it to the insurance claim that was provided from CIRSA to make sure it would fit within the allotted payment we were receiving for the damage.
Thank you so much for that. I would appreciate if in the future, before we did any additional types of piggyback contracts, if we could have an attorney review of our purchasing policy to make sure that we're structuring these types of bids in an appropriate fashion to ensure that we're enabling fair and open competition of our bids and ensuring that we're following our purchase policy. Thanks.
Thank you. We could do that.
All right, feedback noted. Any other questions concerning the consent agenda tonight? If not, then I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda and the agenda. Councilmember Smith.
Madam Mayor and Council, I move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second. I second it.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call a vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
B. Smith?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Thank you, council and staff. We'll now move on to our administrator's report. So that's to Ryan Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You have a written report, and I know we have a packed agenda today. Happy to answer any questions. I don't have any additions at this time.
I would just like to highlight that in your report, it talked about that we're getting bike racks and benches on Main Street, and that's from part of that Revitalization Main Street grant that we received, and so that's really exciting and fun.
It is, and it's, we've gotten some good feedback from the community. We've seen some social media posts. The engraving, the outline of the benches actually casts a really nice shadow of the city, highlighting the city, and it's just been it's been a really good project all around.
Who did the design of the benches?
I don't recall offhand.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. Awesome, well, thank you so much. Any other questions for Ryan at this time? All right, let's move on to 10A. This is an ordinance referral to committee. So this is us voting to agree that we want to talk about this more at the committee level. First is for a use tax reporting and auditing, and the second is for UTV sunset refill. Ryan.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Council, we are just looking to refer these two ordinances to November 8th for consideration. We're getting towards the end of the year and want to make sure that we have time for council to consider both of these before the year ends. Tammy, do you want to talk about the use tax and what we're doing there?
Yes, with the use tax, when we modified our code to go state collected, we also modified our use tax. And at that time, we did not have any reporting requirements in there. So basically, a business could file once a year, or they could file quarterly or monthly. And so this is going to put that in code where there's actually some requirements. And then it just cleans up some language and make sure that we can use outside help to do use tax auditing as well.
And just if I can step in, Madam Mayor, I think it also ensures that you have that audit, that 3-year audit power, which you already have in the code, but it clarifies that and makes it clear to the public, the tax-paying public, that you have that authority, so it's just a little bit clearer.
Okay. Well, we have Councilmember Schmischer and then Councilmember Tracy with questions.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to ask about the city's plans for how you'll reach out to those who will be impacted by this change in the use ordinance, as well as your plans for how you'll reach out to the citizen group that that worked with us on the UTV ordinance. Thanks.
Regarding the UTV ordinance, the PD has contact information for those, for the group as well as the citizens that were in opposition of the UTV ordinance. So we'll send out notification of that meeting and invitations to them to participate in that general government meeting. Tammy, I think we can put some social media and contacts out to our taxpayers, the tax-paying accounts. Do you have any other ideas on?
We actually have a list of businesses that have remitted use tax in the past, and we have been in communication, at least with missed filings and those type of things. So we will send out a notification to let them know that it has changed or is being changed once we actually get that. And again, we will put something on our social media pages.
Would it be possible, Director Nordic, to reach out to them in advance of the November 8th meeting, just so that if they are interested in providing input about the potential changes, they would have the opportunity to come?
We can go ahead and send letters. We don't necessarily have email addresses for everybody.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I would just really appreciate it if we could make that effort to proactively reach out to those who would be impacted by the potential changes on both. So appreciate the ideas and appreciate your efforts on that. Thanks.
Councilmember Tracy.
Thanks. I thought it might help, or I'll put it this way, it would help me and maybe some others in the public to say a little bit more about who all the use tax applies to. I believe it applies to construction materials for which sales tax isn't paid in some other jurisdiction. Does it also apply to individuals who purchase a car outside of the city and don't pay a sales tax? And so just maybe a little more context about who the use tax applies to, who needs to pay it.
So there's different situations on when it will apply. If an individual buys a vehicle outside of the city limits, typically that tax is collected at the time they register their motor vehicle, and that's done by the county. The county goes ahead and submits those taxes to us on a monthly basis. Businesses are the ones that are primarily responsible for use tax. You may have, for instance, a bank that buys something as a giveaway, and they need to pay sales tax on that if they bought it at a wholesale, and then they have to pay use tax on that. I think food spoilage or meals given away also is subject to the use tax.
So it's not something generally that individuals need to pay attention to. It's mostly businesses, as I understand.
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
All right, well, having consistency seems like a very appropriate thing to do. So it's an even playing field for everybody and to have clear expectations. How about the sunset repeal for the UTVs? Any thing you want to say or anything we want to see when it comes to committee that we can advise staff on.
Yeah, so when this comes to committee, it will be discussion around removing the sunsets. It's currently set to sunset in January, so we want to have that discussion and have the public comment and make sure that we have clear direction on how to move forward.
All right, so I would like to entertain a motion to see if we'd like to refer both of these items to the committee. Councilmember Tracy.
I move that we refer the use tax reporting and auditing issue and the UTV sunset repeal issue to General Government Committee, first meeting in November.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
B. Smith?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
All right, we will look forward to seeing those in committee. And once we have those dates, then we'll be able to make those invitations to have them attend.
Yeah,
Correct?
we have the date, so we'll be sending out those invitations.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. Item 10B, this is a full cost allocation plan for item B1, receive and file fiscal year 2021 full cost allocation plan, and part 2, receive and file fiscal year 2022 full cost allocation plan.
And I will turn this over to Finance Director Tammy Nordike, and she does have a guest on the line as well, Lucas Brown from the cost allocation firm.
So before council this evening, you have received the cost allocation plans that were completed by Maximus. Lucas Brown is in the meeting via Zoom. He's the individual from Maximus that completed them. You are receiving 2021 and 2022, and so we will all be caught up. One thing to note is that we utilize our cost allocation plans to determine what our transfers are from the enterprise funds to general fund. We have gone back and reconciled what those costs are compared to what the transfers have been. There is a shortfall in water. Water basically has been undercharged for a few years, and stormwater has been overcharged. So we have developed a plan in our budget to pay those costs back over a period of time as well. So when you look at the budget for 2024, you will see, for the water fund, for instance, it's showing $1 million transfer. And then you'll see in stormwater, there's a transfer out, but then there's also a transfer in. So that's just kind of a highlight that we have. Also, with using Maximus, we revisited our questionnaires that went out to the departments. And with those questionnaires, the departments were able to utilize new programs that we had put in place, such as Cartograph for tracking. And so our data was more reliable than in the past. Before it was, when the questionnaire was sent out, the departments had to estimate. They would say, okay, I did about 10% of our time went to this program, 8% went to this or whatever, and the costs were allocated that way. Now we actually have Cartograph to help us determine what those hours are and what that percentage equals. Do you have any questions or?
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Director Nordike, if you could, in 10 sentences or less, explain to us why we need cost allocation.
The reason that we need the cost allocation, okay, so that's part of the first sentence, is so we can accurately determine what our transfers should be. If the water enterprise or stormwater enterprise were a total independent district, they would have to pay for services such as accounting, their council, IT, and such. Right now, they don't have that, so that's how they pay for it, is through the cost allocation and with the transfers.
Thank you.
Can you enlighten me a little bit on how you determined that the stormwater was being overcharged and the water was being undercharged?
What we did is we looked at what the cost allocation plan said the charges should be compared to what the actual budgeted transfers were and what had happened with those. We did have a change in our process back in, I think it was when we did the 2019 cost allocation plan. We started doing the cost allocation plan based on actuals, where prior to that, it was based on budget. And as you're very well aware that we may budget $15 million in a fund, but only spend half of that. So when you're looking at it based on budget, we felt that that wasn't necessarily the best way to do it, and that using actuals, even if it were a year or two later, and catching up would be a better way to do it.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
another question. So this plan, what we have is both a backwards look and a plan going forward, how to perform the allocations in the future?
Yes, that is correct. We do have, and what we will do is, as soon as we finalize our 2023 numbers, we will actually start on the 2023 cost allocation plan. We have already awarded the contract to Maximus, and so when we have that data available, we'll go ahead and get that out to them. They'll start the plan, and then we should be able to have that information when we're going through our budget, because that is the goal, is to have it while we're going through budget.
I'd like to point out that, you know, when the city council at the time approved the tool Cartograph, which is it's an asset management tool, it's a time tracking tool. This was part of the goal, part of the reason we wanted to use a tool like Cartograph, because we didn't feel like the process that we were using was the best process. There are better ways to do it, and this is the fruits of making that investment several years ago, and actually year over year, we can test to see how consistent that is, as well as we move forward, with these various cost allocation plans.
On that, is this something that we'll have to contract for every year, or will it at some point get to a place where we can use the Cartograph data ourselves to do the cost allocations?
I think there's more to it than just what we get in Cartograph. Cartograph helps a lot with the public, especially on the public works side, but I'll let Tammy talk about whether or not we can bring this out in-house at some point.
Right now, we do not have a program that will allow us to do the cost allocation plan. I also do not know if we have the required training to do that. Lucas is on the line if you would like to find out more about how their process works. Because when they get the data, they go through and allocate it multiple times, and there's certain things that they're looking at. And so, I don't know if that's something you would like him to speak on.
I think you answered my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's no further questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to receive and file fiscal years 2021 and 2022 for full cost allocation plan.
Sure. Madam Mayor, I move that we receive and file fiscal year 2021 full cost allocation plan
Second.
So 2021 and 2022?
and 2022.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call vote.
Can I ask real quick who did this, the second? I could not hear.
I did
Kathy.
the second, Cindy.
Kathy.
Thank
Kathy.
you. Okay, Councilmember Dennehy,
Aye.
Schmisher,
Aye.
B. Smith,
Aye.
Stein,
Aye.
Tracy,
Aye.
Worthington,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Aye.
Okay, it has passed, and it's time to move on to item C. But first, thank you to you, Tammy, and to Lucas for being here tonight as well. We really appreciate you both. It is time to do the second reading and adoption by title only of Ordinance 9, Series of 2023. This is concerning the municipal code for theft and disposition of shopping carts. I'd like to invite the chief to come up here. I'd also like to recognize that Aaron Malejo is here. And I don't know if you've been hearing when we're talking on the radio or wherever that we've been giving you some praise as being just a citizen who is seeing a problem, identifying it, doing something about it, but also you came up with a solution and came to council with it. And we really appreciate that incredible act of citizenship and helping us be better and do better as a community. Okay, Chief, have you heard
Well
anything?
said, Madam Mayor. I agree wholeheartedly. Aaron's, he's been very helpful to us.
Absolutely. And for personally picking up 25-plus shopping carts, yeah, just praises. Thank you so much. Have you heard anything more from our businesses?
Yes, Commander Leonard did make contact with both laundromats, and they were in favor of the ordinance and felt that they would be able to comply. He worked rather tirelessly today, putting together a checklist, if you will, as Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick had asked about. We're looking, and he developed a first draft process memo so that all of my team is singing from the same sheet of music in terms of how we move forward once if the ordinance is adopted. So we're in a pretty good place right now, but I'm certain that there's going to be some logistical items that we need to work out. But we did reach out to Rex Brady, the department head for Parks, and he agreed that he would be our final call if our code enforcement or our park ranger trucks are not available to corral these carts when necessary. So they're willing to pitch in as well.
Thank you. You guys have really put the boots to the ground to do the research, go talk to all the possible stores that we could, and think of all of the aspects. And thank you for all the homework that you've put into doing this as well.
All the thank goes to Commander Bell and Commander Leonard. They spearheaded this.
Well, for your whole team, and also a pre-thank you, because it's going to be some work on your end too.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions from council at this time? Looks like Ryan, you're.
It is a second reading, and we did amend it to be effective starting January 1st.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I do have a question. Chief Schick, the process memo that you mentioned, is that something that will be provided to the businesses? So really where my question is coming from is what I hope that we can eventually achieve is a simple checklist for a business. And it can be just as simple as that, a checklist where they go down and say, do I bring my carts in at night, yes or no? And have that checklist be the plan required by the ordinance.
And that's exactly what Commander Leonard and I talked about today, letting that document be their control plan so that implementation, there's no ambiguity there. This
Great.
is A, B, C, D, E, and so on.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Aaron, did you wish to address council?
Don't threaten me with the microphone. Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody in the cities, their work on this. I know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes and, legal review and of course, all the police departments work on it. And I just want to say thank you. I did stop for about a month picking up carts so that other people could see some of the ones, but I saw one a couple days ago at Highway 50 and 4th Street that could have gone into the road, so I couldn't resist. So I picked that one up, and we did have to call dispatch. I guess it was yesterday. There was some people with a cart and had a long pole on the front, and he was just in the street sharpening the end of it. So we called dispatch about that one, and then they responded. But I just wanted to thank everybody's work on it.
Thank you
Thank you.
for being a
Thank
part of
you.
the team. I think it'll be important to just be a reminder that, you know, I kind of gave some homelessness stats for Canyon City earlier as well, but I mean, if there are members in this community that need help and are seeking help and want to better their life, we are working with many organizations that are working tirelessly to help them get that hand up, to get back on their feet and live a productive and good life. However, there are some illegal behaviors and detrimental behaviors and some public safety concerns that we have to take care of too. And if you don't wish to put your best foot forward to better your life, then this isn't going to be a comfortable place to have those behaviors here in Canyon City, and this is one of those tools to make that happen. Do you have any other final words before we go to vote, Chief?
No, ma'am, I think we've covered it all.
Okay, I would like to entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 9, series of 2023, an ordinance of the City of Canyon City adding a new section 9.24.070 of the Canyon City Municipal Code concerning theft and disposition of shopping carts.
Second.
There has been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call a vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
B. Smith?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Excellent. Well, this will go into effect January 1st, 2024. Thank you again for everybody for your work on this. Let's move on to item D, 10D, introduction and first reading by title only of Ordinance 11, Series 2023, entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City amending Section 5.30.010 of the Canyon City Municipal Code to allow administrative approval of retail establishment applications. This did go to our General Government Committee, had a great conversation. Lots of business owners were there. We still have one that's tried and true, and we're grateful that you're here to represent our retail establishments. Ryan.
This is an ordinance to, let me take a step back. The state amended state law to allow retail stores to have liquor licenses. This is an ordinance that would allow for that to take place here in Canyon City. There's a limited number of times per year that a retail establishment can actually host one of these liquor events, so 24 times per year. And we're requesting setting the fee at $25 for the city. The state fee is $100. That would make the total fee for $125. And I would ask Cindy Foster Owens, our city clerk, if she had anything else to add at this time.
I have not had anybody else come in and speak to me either positively or negatively about this ordinance. Everything I've had has been positive, and I look forward to it going through.
I think one of the bigger takeaways was from the business community was hurry and pass this because the holidays are coming up and we want to be able to legally have some special occasions at our businesses. So I'm glad that
And Mayor, in that realm, I did send stuff out to all the businesses with applications already attached and said, you know, barring any problems and we go forward and everything goes according to plan, have it in by this date so that we can get you set for those holidays, trying to be proactive with them so that they can do everything they want in December.
That's above and beyond. Thank you, Cindy. We'll also do a special shout out again that Cindy went and personally visited many of these establishments to talk to them about this ordinance. So thank you for doing that.
Ryan Leclerc, our new small business liaison, also did some outreach as well.
Yes, yes, let's give credit where it's due. So it's wonderful. It's exactly what we like to hear. Any other further questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion. Councilmember Dennehy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 11, series of 2023.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
B. Smith?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye. Excuse me. Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Excellent. It passes. And I'm just loving on, are you laughing too about just the words that are coming up? It's all hi, hi, hi instead of I. So I was like, hi. Yes, it passes unanimously. Item 10E, introduction and first reading by title only of Ordinance 13, Series of 2023, entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City Setting the Compensation of the City Administrator. Ryan Stevens.
I'm going to actually take this one.
That would be appropriate.
So as outlined in the ordinance, your charter requires that any compensation for the city administrator be set by ordinance. This ordinance is based upon the direction Corey Hoffman received in your executive session based upon Mr. Stevens' evaluation.
Yeah, I would like just to take it a little step further, just for the benefit of the public, that this was based on an extensive performance review for about a year and a half, where we had some goals that we had set for Ryan and expectations for how we expected him to truly be running the city. I say the mayor does not run the city council doesn't really run the city, it's Ryan Stevens that is running the city and under our direction. And the salary was based on that performance and achieving those goals. Part of it was based on performance, and part of it was the 6.5% COLA that is given to all of the staff members automatically. Anything else at the city? Anyone else? Brandon Smith?
I was just going to make the ordinance, or
The
make the
motion?
motion. Since it's the last time I'll be able to give you money, from here on out, you'll just have to give me money. So I do so move, Madam Mayor and Council, to approve ordinance number 13, series of 2023 on first reading.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. I do see that Councilmember Schmischer's hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just hoping that we could make a slight amendment to the ordinance to specify that it includes that 6.5% COLA that was implemented for all city staff on January 1st, 2023. I think it adds additional clarity for future councils' awareness of what was done, and I think it's important that it's part of the public record.
Yes.
So along those lines, that would be something in section 1, retroactive to April 1st, the city administrator's compensation composed of a performance portion and a 6.5% COLA shall be
Yes.
the amount.
So I amend my motion to what Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick has stated.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member Smith.
Do we need a second?
We need to second that second.
I will second that.
Okay, so it has been amended to have more clarity to include that 6.5% of that compensation increases from the COLA. As part of the discussion, I just want to say, Ryan, that it has been an absolute pleasure working alongside you. You are excellent. And we are really proud of the work that you do. Get a lot of positive feedback from our community, and we have seen a lot of progress since you have come to Canyon City. Progress in all of the right ways. And so thank you for all the work that you do in taking care of Canyon City.
Thank you, I appreciate that, and it's been a pleasure working for both you and the city council. Thank you.
Really have great teamwork all around, whether it's council and at City Hall. I don't know if I've ever seen morale so good, and so we really appreciate it. If there's no other comments or discussion, I would like to call the vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmischer?
Aye.
B. Smith?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Excellent. Ryan, you just got a pay raise.
Almost, one more reading.
True, that's rough. That is rough, 2 readings, whew. Besides all that we grilled you through, it wasn't easy, it was well, it was well earned. We had really high expectations for you. It is time now. Our meetings are not done for Canyon City Council. We need to go into executive session on 2 different items. I'll turn
Are
the
we
time
staying
over
in
to.
here?
We will stay in this room, yes.
Okay.
Well, have a wonderful night. Good seeing you.
Yes, thank you for being here. All right, that's all for you, Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor
Madam
Pro
Mayor.
Tem.
I have a motion. I move that the city council enter into executive sessions for the following purposes. Executive session to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop a strategy for negotiations, and/or instruct negotiators pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024E regarding proposed incentives for an economic development project, and to consider personal matters pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024F and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session, specifically for the city administrative performance goals.
So there needs to
A
be.
second.
A second. Any discussion? Call vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
B. Smith?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Good night.
Yeah, you have a good night too.
Good night.
That's it.